We'll call to order. Okay. And a roll call. Chairman Olson. Present. Okay. Commissioner Anderson. Present. Commissioner Dolan. Here. Commissioner Schultheis is here. Commissioner Donald is not here. Other members in the audience?
Mark Roscoe, Director of Public Works.
Frank Chen, General Manager of the company Northbrook.
Sherry Greco, Director of Finance.
And Officer Garza, Prosecutor.
All right. Oh, we don't need an electronic approval, Commissioner. I was just gonna, it's like, I've never seen that before. All right, so we need to do an approval of the minutes from our September 12th board meeting.
I'll make that motion to approve.
A second. Okay. All in favor? Do we need to do a roll call for it? We can do a roll call. Schultheis, aye. Alvarez, aye.
Anderson, aye.
Bullet, aye.
All right. So we'll start with new business. It's nice to have you here. I always have a lot of questions.
I know, I'm like, I better come armed with information.
Yes. So, so what we've done in the past, I just want to explain to Frank so he understands. So in the past, everyone had to turn in their grant request prior to the meeting, and that still is the case. However, we were running into situations where they weren't getting it in time, and we were making accommodations. So we made it so that it wouldn't, we put it in, so it won't exceed what their allocation is.
Just a blanket approval every quarter.
Yeah.
Well, they still have to submit stuff in order to get it.
In order to get it, yeah. So I'll turn it over to you.
No, so currently, Holly, we received yours.
Mhm.
We're working on nothing else yet. I was just curious, are you going to submit?
I turned it over to them, they didn't submit yet.
You haven't gotten anything. Okay. And the rest don't typically submit anything, so they're still MIA.
So that was the question that I had last meeting. So, you know, as we talk about some of the projects we want to do and things, and this money isn't getting allocated out to the hotels, is that something that can be put back into like the beautification fund, or what happens to that money? Because as it just continues to sit there, I feel like we're going back however long ago it was when we had the CBD, and it was like all of a sudden we have this big amount that's sitting in an account that's doing nothing.
Yes, is my answer. It just sits there unless council changes the agreement, because right now the agreement is the schedule splits, so those split and the debt money doesn't get spent in those funds. Grants don't get spent because everyone's not claiming, but if everyone claimed, it would go to zero.
Right.
Police services goes down to zero because we always draw. And then everything is minimal. So those grants just accumulate year after year and run into fund balance. It's kind of like when the first tourism board started, there was a fund balance.
Exactly.
And it stipulates in the agreement it's to be split X, Y, Z, whatever, I can't remember the details. Now we've accumulated another fund balance, and as of the end of April 30th year end, there's $571,000 in there.
And so any changes would have to go through the city council, not this.
Correct, because currently the agreement does not address what to do with the fund balance. And that's just been accumulating over the years, probably from the grant line. That's the only one I can think of, because you've always taken years.
And this is what happened last time. So when we, for those of you that weren't here or didn't know, so prior to us creating the tourism district, the city had a CBB, and there was over $1 million sitting in an account. And so that's when, if you recall, when we started the tourism district, it was, everything was being pulled from that account until it was down to nothing. And this is what my concern is that that's a huge chunk of money that's sitting there. So is that something that we can propose, or what? I don't know what that looks like.
The way this would work really is we could either amend the agreement, or we could present a budget that's negative, right? So if you want to apply it to beautification and police services and grants, we would budget that number. it would come out to be a negative, right? And then the fund balance, that negative next year is going to be a lower number. That's how you go fund balance, is through the expenditures.
Mhm.
The other way we can do it is not budget for it, but then approve the additional expenses, and then the budget would go over budget, then the expenses would be over budget. So we can either plan to do it and have council approve that budget for the negative, or we can go to council. Either way, you're gonna have to go to council.
Of course.
So the mechanics of it, we have
Yeah.
those two choices. We can either go to council, they approve it, and we budget the negative, or we budget normal, and then go to council, they approve it, and then we just go over budget. But we have the resolution from council that says we are gonna spend X, Y, Z.
Because my thing is that, okay, so that's obviously a huge chunk of money, and we're sitting here every meeting, like, talking about how we have to make much slimmer allocations from beautification. I'm sure the police department wouldn't mind having some of that, and like, my thing is that if there's a way our normal structure is, you know, how it, parts of it goes to the city, parts of it goes to police, parts of it goes to beautification, grant, whatever it is, maybe that's something that we need to look at so that it's allocated, so that it's just not sitting there, because everyone can obviously use
Yes,
those funds.
it's something that I will discuss with Joe, and possibly the city attorney. It's something that would have to appear on a city council agenda.
Sure, yes.
So it'll take some time, but I will discuss with him the options that you discussed. Me personally, I feel like I hate to see money just sitting there. That
Is that accruing
that you
any
can't-
interest? What's happening?
Yeah, there's an.
Okay, there
there's
is.
an-
What-
So
The
it's
only thing I would
Total amount.
say is, before we talk about this half a million, 571, you want to keep some reserve money.
That's what I-
You
that's
don't
what I
want to
was gonna
spend to
say.
zero and
Right.
then have nothing.
Right.
So whatever percentage, that might be 25%, maybe 100,000, whatever we do with the money, we need to consider to have some reserve there.
We need some.
Yeah, so it's something that we can discuss at the city council, and we can take action at that time or a following meeting, but it would have to be discussed at our meeting. So I'll talk to Joe about getting on an agenda probably after the first of the year at this point.
And we can certainly come, you know, and speak to it,
That would
I'm
be-
assuming we would need to.
That would be a huge help.
Yeah, yeah. And maybe we can have, I don't know, if we can maybe have a sidebar meeting of what we would want to propose, you know, prior to that meeting, so that we're not going in and there's so much back and forth.
Again, that would be a help. So
Yeah.
like I said, I'll bring it up to Joe, and he might want to call you or have a conference call and discuss, first of all, the options and what we want to discuss at an open meeting prior to the meeting, and then we can put it on a future agenda.
And if council approves it, we don't necessarily have to go back to the agreement. I mean, we could, because the expenditures within this fund are to be decided, approved by the tourism board, and then approved by council to do the final disbursement. So if we approve it here, and then we go to council and they approve it there, then it's just like a regular disbursement.
Mhm.
We don't
I-
really
I
have to
believe
touch
so.
the agreement.
Yeah, I believe so. Anything like that we make a change to an agreement, I always, and Joe and everyone else wants the okay from the city attorney
Yeah.
to look it over and say,
Sure.
okay, yeah,
Yeah,
that's fine.
so if we stay away from the agreement, it's just simpler.
Mhm. So, yeah, perhaps some of us can talk to Joe or a conference you're in, just get the details, and then put it on an agenda after the first of the year.
Because we do a lot of things that we're trying to cut.
Yeah, like we're skimping on a lot of things that can make a bigger difference, and
Make it look really nice.
and there'd still be a lot left, so I mean, it can certainly
Yeah.
be allocated in other fashions as well, but I'm just saying, like,
Or over time, it doesn't all have to be a lump sum.
well, and I don't think it necessarily needs to be, but I think, I mean, every meeting we sit here and we say, oh, well, we'd really like to do these plantings, but we only have this much money.
Right.
So then it's like, you know, and that's been my question for several times now, is what's happening to these funds where people
Yeah.
are not claiming them? And it's like kind of deja vu, so.
We did have other bigger projects we talked about at times. One was the lighting project,
I mean, Winckelmann.
the lighting project on Winkleman and Apple. We had talked at one point about the police department camera system, increasing that into the hotel area more than it is now. The bridge enhancements, the Milwaukee/Palatine Willow Bridge. A step to that would be hiring an architect to come up with a design. We have to see what's feasible. Working with IDOTs, it's not just we go slap some paint on it.
Right.
And then the island by Players and over there where the trees are, we did some outcroppings a few years ago, but there's no lighting over there or anything like that. We had a lot of different ideas, but they just never get traction.
Right.
So I think, Holly, if we get together and we put together like a proposed, like our CIP plan, right? You know, it goes out 5 years. I think if we do something like that for the spend on this money, naming all those specific projects and whatever else you have, the individual budgets annually, the beautification budget, those are gonna go up naturally because revenue is starting to
Right.
really increase. So I don't know how much they'll go up, depends on how much money we collect, but as we know, that's gonna keep going up as your sales go.
Right, but like some of these things
Right.
we've talked about.
The bigger ones.
Like, for instance, like when we did all of our beautification, the two main contributors to the tourism district really received not a whole lot of benefit from that, other than it created for our customers, you know, a nicer passageway, you know, and so we had talked about what could we, or what do we need in our area, and so that was one of the things that we talked about, this lighting project, because if you ever are on Winkleman at night, it is very dark. And so we talked about that, and so, but that was a big ticket item, you know, so those are some of the things that this is a couple of years now we've talked about it, so it would be really nice to put some of those things to the forefront and get some of those things done if it's possible.
And I
If it's not, then it's not.
pretty sure we could just, the way you describe it is make like a plan for that. The beautification historically is just about the maintenance and the continued support of what we already have versus the budget of the enhancements.
You're
We
talking
did the
about,
roadway
you're talking about capital
and
improvement.
big
Right.
checks and big.
And same thing on Apple Drive, like by the Holiday Inn, I mean, that's really dark over there as well. I mean, I'm sure you guys would love to see some lights there.
Yeah.
So Mark, why don't we work on a capital improvement plan for tourism district to roll forward 5 years, see what that dollars looks like.
Okay.
Then we can talk amongst all of us what year to do what or what's priority, and then maybe whatever other type of things will be operating expenses, which would be, do we want more grant disbursement, do we want more beautification, do we want more police? Do we want to split it according to the agreement, but maybe throw $50,000 a year for the next 5 years to increase all those? So we'll put together that first, and then maybe we call a meeting before you go to council, and then
Oh, for sure.
we could go in with the actual proposal to even to give to Joe and.
I wouldn't want to present it to council till we've met and really
Yeah.
come up with like something that everybody can like,
Yeah.
I agree.
you know,
Yeah.
put their arms around it, because I've been at those council meetings, and if you're not prepared, it's not
It's not pretty.
it's not pretty. I mean, well, and rightly so, you know, they have a lot of questions, and if you can't answer them, then it kind of a moot point, so.
So if we plan to have a proposal done March 1st is our next meeting, that would be when this board would approve it, and then council would approve it, and then we can either, in March, it'll be too late.
Well, you can always have a special meeting anytime.
March would be too late to put it into the budget. Why don't we plan a meeting in
Yeah.
February,
End of January,
or end of
kind
January?
of, at least for the next step,
Yeah, I would say like late January,
just to have.
just to keep things on track because we're
Right, we'll meet in
behind.
January and get our proposal, but I'm trying to think when we want council, if we can get their approval by February, we can roll it into the budget, because we're still having a draft budget in February.
Yeah, if you have a special meeting late January, you could get it on, of course, we have 2 meetings in February. So,
So if we can meet the first, don't we meet the first Friday of February for this board to approve it? So that means in January, we'll do all our legwork and we'll do our side meetings and make a plan. February, we'll meet here to approve that, and then February's meeting, we take council. Does that sound like a good timeline?
that would work.
So our February meeting would be,
February 2nd? Is that usually the first meeting? The
or no,
first-
our first meeting's March 1st.
Yeah, but if you want to make, you said you wanted to make one in February?
Well, we'll need to make a special.
I think we need to make one in January,
Oh,
and then maybe an additional one if needed. Otherwise, hopefully we can accomplish that, what we need to in the one, and then we would present it to council in February.
January 26th, I cannot make, which is a Friday, the 19th I can. But I just wanted to point that out.
I'll be out of town both of those.
I'm out of town the 19th.
Oh. Fun.
February 2nd?
I could be remote, I mean, I could be remote for a meeting quickly, but I.
February 2nd, Groundhog's Day, also like we're doing it all over again.
Yeah, we can meet 2/2, but do the legwork in January. If we can meet 2/2 on February 2nd.
And that still gives us enough time
I'll
to
be there.
put
We
it
still
on.
have 2 meetings in February, so we should still be good with council if we have to tweak this after February 2nd.
So February 2nd.
So not in January.
I would say.
Okay, so meet February 2nd.
And the two council meetings in February are the 12th and the 26th. So we would have time to
That'd be
do it.
perfect.
Yep.
So a special meeting February 2nd, and then our scheduled meeting, which is March. Which would be great.
So to clarify, before 2/2, we're gonna have like side meetings and banter and Mark, we're gonna do this plan and get together. And then on 2/2, we're gonna.
One-on-one conversation, so we
Yeah.
don't break any.
And then on 2/2, we're gonna come together with the plan already designed and this board will approve it.
Refine it.
Yeah. So of course, we'll loop Joe in on this and Peter. Matt, do you want to be involved in the pre-discussions as well?
Yeah, please, yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to mention that to Joe, or do you want me to meet with, just to give him a heads up?
I'll let him know.
Yeah, please do.
I'll go upstairs.
I think is he off today, his office?
He's here.
Oh, he is here, okay. If you don't mind just mentioning to
Yep.
him that this is what we're thinking, and then we'll go from
And see
there.
what he thinks.
Thank you.
Okay, so in January, once Mark and I get these improvement things together, then I think we'll have our side Zoom meeting or Zoom call or whatever we need to do. Because then we'll have some numbers, and we can talk about the operating expense part of it.
And I mentioned a few of the things that I know on my list, I got other notes and stuff, but if there's something you think of offhand, just shoot me an email, say, hey, we talk about this, or. I
Well,
wanna-
those are the only big ones I can think of. I mean, obviously, I know you're gonna bring up the banners, but that probably can be funded out of our regular funding.
I think so.
Is there, I don't know if there's anything
I
else.
have a question though. On the banners, I was driving down there at night and you can't see them at night.
They're not lit to say by their own means, but each one is on an IDOT light tower. So
But
that,
it's weird, you can't, you don't see them at all.
that would be, the only way to change it would be to light them individually.
Yeah, I was like, isn't there a light up there? I'm sorry.
But
I was like going,
But if you
but it's
go,
weird
but
because
there
you're
is-
driving down and you think about it, like when it's winter time and things, you guys, you're dark here at 4:30, 4:45, you can't see anything.
We're working on that.
And that's when everybody's, are you gonna change the
By
color?
April or May, we're gonna change
But
that.
Our estimated fix is in May.
I see. So you're driving down and that's when the heavy traffic is, right, in those hours and you can't even know the day.
They,
Sorry, I'm just calling.
no, it makes sense. They are on the light tower, which is the IDOT tower, which have two big heads on each one of them, most of them. And they're not super bright at night, though. There's
but I
really-
don't think any of, I'm just trying to think, because I drive down Milwaukee all the time and go through several cities that have banners and
And
such.
then you can't
They're
see
not
them.
lit.
So where I am, you do. So that's why I asked. It hit me, I'm like, oh, we can see them there, okay. That's all, I just had a question about that. Is there
There's,
like, what?
we've looked at different options for some of the city entry signs that we have on a model pole. And they make LED hats that go on them that have little floodlights on each side. They've proven, I haven't seen any that are real reliable, that are cost effective, and $1,000 per sign is kind of crazy.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But for here, I don't see that as realistic for us to light.
I just
these.
wondered if there was like, there wasn't something that was all out or something, but I understand. I just-
Well, and that's, I mean, if you want to start getting into that, we did this, I don't even know how long ago it was. We had this proposal and we had like monument signs and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
that
you
had
have
lighting,
the
and it
monument
was
sign,
just
it's really expensive.
crazy expensive.
Yeah, monument. you know.
One of the things that is still on the city's long-term plan is the monument sign. We have two of them
At
in
the
the city.
airport.
Right, we want to put them more by the airport. We currently have one by the Chase Bank at Euclid and 83, and the other monument sign is at Schoenbeck and Palatine Road across from the school. The proposal has been, it just hasn't been acted on, is to put one down by the Crown Plaza entrance along by Kaiser Animal Hospital there, and then one would be up near the Ramada on that portion up by the airport. So it really, you're entering Prospect Heights.
Yeah.
And our new signs, we just replaced the original two, because they were really bad shape. So that's been talked about, but it's lost traction. Mayor Helmer was wanted to see that happening. Funding kind of fell apart for a while there, and granted, they would be in the tourism district, so we could talk about that as one of the things on our capital plan is how we could work something else.
Because didn't we do that brick wall, like, that has this, isn't there a sign on that? At, what is that? Palatine and Willow? Isn't there like a,
There's not a
I don't
welcome
remember.
to,
No, not welcome to. I'd have to go over there and look. I don't remember. It's been so long.
so, but that, we don't have an entrance to the city to say. There is a little green sign put in by the state that says Prospect Heights population.
Yeah.
In a couple spots, but nothing dramatic, nothing.
That'd be nice, I think they should do that. I think that's-
Arlington Heights just put a whole bunch of ones up on Rand, you see those?
They did, and they,
Uptown, and it's like, this is Prospect Heights, what the heck?
yeah, it's
Oh, really?
Yeah, they put Uptown.
uptown shopping district.
Yeah, Uptown Shopping District, and it's like our Thornton's and our Barcelado and Kalahiki and Tony's.
That's their mailing address, but they're
Yeah.
It's,
not in.
The signs are in Arlington, but
They took advantage.
with our odd city boundaries, they're in their property.
They put two of them on Rand.
Yeah, it's just, it's a weird,
It looks very weird, and they're very short, it just, they're like this,
yeah, we are on TV, but it's just, they just.
I know. Right. I mean, well, that's something to look into when we do our signs, right? Maybe,
Right.
yeah.
So, but yeah, they just, so we'd
Oh,
like to see
that's
two
okay.
more.
I mean, it's,
No,
it's the
no,
truth.
no, I-
It's on Rand Road, yeah.
Right, it's just with the way our city boundary is, it's just, it's a weird, the target is Arlington Heights, the
Yes.
Barcelona is Prospect Heights, where the sign is right there, it's Arlington, the Muggs is Arlington, but part of Route 12 is Prospect Heights.
Yes, and then if you go back down by like the whatever the romantic
Right.
store, and then like, then that's not Prospect, but if you cross a little bit, that's Arlington Heights.
Yes, it's
So.
so piecemealed in there, and of course, on the other side of the street, Thornton's fuel station is an Arlington Heights address, but it's Prospect Heights.
Yeah.
And a couple houses behind ours, but they look like
Yes.
Arlington. So it's a weird, every edge of the city, and obviously in the hotel area. The Northbrook,
thing.
People think it's
Northbrook,
Northbrook, the same
Chicago,
thing.
Prospect Heights,
We get that all the
Glenview.
time.
And there's no way to, like, it's just gonna stay Northbrook, Hilton Northbrook, because,
And that's how it is with the Crown.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a known entity.
Very confusing.
Our homes that, over on that side, they have an Arlington Heights mailing address, but they're Prospect Heights, and
yeah,
at this point, it's hard to change things. And
yeah.
But I think to your point, since you saw that, when we do it, we want to make it,
Like, I like
Nice.
Wheelings.
Really
Wheelings
big,
looks nice
right?
when they're coming off Milwaukee, it's nice. Both of theirs, the one on 83 is nice also.
Yeah, they have the same logo, and now, we just about 4 or 5 weeks ago, our Chase Bank sign and our
Yes.
Schoenbeck are new.
Yes, I saw that, it looks good.
Yeah,
It
I
looks
really
good.
like them. Our old logo was the green wheat field type, and they were wood plank and they were rotting out. And the new ones are aluminum,
This-
they're bright, they're this, our current logo, with the red and the blue, and they pop, and that's what we like to see there, so.
Yeah, something to look into.
We'll put one right in front of the Arlington sign.
No competition.
Or a little map, you know?
Right.
Looks like the edge of a jigsaw puzzle.
So when you have Julie come out, be like, where's the
Oh,
line?
it's,
So
There's always a question.
Yeah.
End of the day, is that something the city's gonna do, or is that something that we would propose in this capital?
I think we should put it all together as a package.
Yeah, we'll look at it for both.
Okay.
Because it is a city sign in the tourism area, so we'll have to worry about how the funding will be and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a reason they haven't been put up so far, is probably due to funding. So we did 2 back in the day, and that was it. But this area really, we wanted to pop.
So that might be a positive
Yeah.
to getting our funding to be used, so it'll help you out.
All of us, we're all on the same team.
This wouldn't be a separate capital plan, it would all be built into our city's capital, just like when we did Winkleman and the other, you guys, tourism paid for that, right through the capital plan of the city. So once we come up with these projects, if we could, by 2/12, if we could get council approval, we'll build it into the city's capital plan, and then go forward when we present the budget, it will be in there. Whatever the
Basically
specific
an
project.
asterisk on how the funding is.
Yeah, we have a funding column, which we did similarly with
Yeah.
Winkleman, and we just say tourism.
When we did their
It's a funding
paving
source.
of our street,
Oh, really?
because it was really bad.
It was.
So
Really bad.
Really,
Curb
really bad, yeah.
was-
We didn't have any curbs, like
was-
it was bad.
Yeah. So it'll be similar to that, if we can get it. all
That'd be good,
together.
yeah, that'd be nice.
Let's put a stoplight in while we're at it.
Holly's like, oh, look at all this money.
I can help with maintenance on it, but I can't put one.
I'm sure the police department would really appreciate that,
I
because
mean,
there's
if
so
we got-
many accidents
Yeah,
there.
that and if we got a flock camera on Winkleman and
Yeah.
Milwaukee because of all the, the catalytic converter
Yeah.
caps and just people use that, have been using that as an avenue.
Well, it's so dark
We
on
caught
that
some people,
road.
I don't know if your staff will do, we caught some people not too long ago, they were parked behind the Crown Plaza, where it backs into that forest. And they had their car parked there, but they were on foot in the parking lots, trying to Hilton and the Crown Plaza. And one of our officers caught them, they went back inside there, it was a Jeep with no license, they went back inside their Jeep and they drove off. So, but it's so dark over there that, yeah, it's perfect, it's like the perfect combination of
Because you have that
that.
whole forest area back in
Yep.
there. I mean.
But in all fairness, like that, I know that's a whole other story, because you're talking about the state and everything else, but back when Allstate was still here, there was the talk that we were gonna get a stoplight at that intersection. And I think it would make such a difference. And I don't know if that's something that is, pie in the sky, big dreams, but, maybe Dermani would even be somebody we could talk to that, I don't know if they're in and outs or whatever, but that's something else that we could put on there.
Is it an IDOT project?
It would be an IDOT project. The city of Prospect Heights has the boundaries of the Winkleman from the roadway back to where the forest, to where your properties
Yeah.
end. So even if a lighting project, that's as far as we would go. But a traffic signal there would incorporate the ownership of the rest of the roadway and the Sanders intersection. They do more of a large scale study of it, and depending on what's happening with the Dermont project, currently it's not a truck route through there. So if they put a light in, would they want to change that to a truck route? There's different things that you want one, you get a, you might end up having 20 trucks lined up.
Yeah,
Just, it's that whole piece effect, you do this, they want to do this.
yeah.
There's a handoff, so while the light would definitely increase the safety of the intersection, I don't disagree with that at all. I just wonder if they would want to change something with the road condition.
How does something like that get rolling? Do we have to put a proposal to IDOT or something, or we just? Just curious, I don't know.
I don't either, because Allstate was going to do it before, so we didn't have any partake in it. All right, so we've totally gone off task here, but it was important stuff to talk about, and it's been a long time. So quarterly grant disbursements, we have approval to not exceed the disbursements as listed here, and we just need to get approval on that, right? A roll call.
Omnibus approval, yes. and that would be contingent upon paperwork being submitted.
Correct.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay,
Algar, sir, aye.
Henderson, aye.
Schulteis, aye.
Dolly, aye.
Before we move on, I just have one last question. So if we go to this direction we're talking about, is it something that we need to alert the people who haven't requested, or is it that time is come and gone and they can't? Because it's passed, right? And we say like, once it's passed, they
They
don't,
have to be spent within the year and submitted.
so we don't need to notify them? Okay, all right. Just because they don't really partake, so I didn't know if we need to make them aware.
I mean, it would be like you coming to us and say, here are the expenses from 2021, if you can reimburse me.
Right.
That would be what you're saying. So
Yeah.
There's no clause that states you could submit.
Okay.
So the claim would only be during the last segment based on what the agreement is.
The last quarter.
Not past.
Yeah.
So,
Like April 30th is the end of the year, you could submit in April or in May for the whole year, you don't have to go quarterly, you can do your annual allocation in May if you wanted to save up. If your quarterly disbursement is only $1,100, you can wait, you know what I'm saying, for the smaller amounts. So it's up until we can post it in that fiscal year,
I thought we were only allowed to do it quarterly though.
but not sooner. You can.
Oh, at the end, at the
You can
end,
not
I got
take
you.
it, and then you can get your whole amount. But we close our year like in May, so our payables are closed.
Yeah,
So if
okay.
you don't get your disbursement request before the end of May, then we can't put it back
Okay.
into that fiscal year, so
Got it.
then it's gone.
Okay. Okay. All right, Mark. It's your turn.
we've covered a lot already. Beautification wise, we went ahead and we talked at the last meeting about lighting. We had the proposals from our current provider, Landscape Concepts, which we all agreed was more than we wanted to spend. I reached out to a couple other companies. I had a quote from Landscape Concepts, and B&B Holiday Decorations out of Wheeling came in at $5,700 to do the 16 Parkway trees. In the past, we had done the trees, the outcroppings on the hill, and trying to keep this financial a little lower, went with just the trees, the trees right down the middle. They do a different design than Landscape Concepts, where Landscape Concepts wire wrapped each individual branch to make them really pop. B&B does, they wrap the trunk, and then it's more of the wrap around the tree, the traditional type. I was out there watching them put them up, and I've been out there a couple nights to see how they look, and they look good. They don't have the same pizzazz that we had, but for the difference of $12,000 or $13,000, I'm quite happy with the difference. So,
Well, and I think too, I mean, we've talked about this in previous, but I bet you're gonna get not much breakage when you're taking, you know, because it's taking it off and that whole thing, so.
So there's a difference in that. So it worked out really well. Now, we're not buying the lights from these guys, the current. They
Oh.
put them up and take them down.
Oh, okay.
So each year it's just.
It's not like the others,
Roughly,
we had to
right.
buy it.
Correct.
Got it.
So it's a
Okay.
different, the other company was a landscape company doing this work for us, even though they do it for other vendors or other customers. This is their business. They do lights and they take it down. So we're pleased with that this year. The accident that we had a few months ago with the DUI, everything's been repaired now. The new power posts are in, the new trees are in. We're still waiting on the funding through the insurance company to reimburse back to the tourism fund for what we expelled on that. But we're on that, trying to get that to the next step.
Was there another accident, or is that like, I felt like I noticed the other day when I was driving down, there was like a open spot right in front of Players almost, like, or like not, it's still on Milwaukee, not on River, but it's like right at the end.
There is, There's a section there that doesn't have a couple trees, I think that's just by design.
Oh, okay.
This was,
I felt like maybe there was something missing.
this last accident was just a little farther down, more than 25 to Cougar. And
Okay.
there's 2 new trees there, they're a little shorter than the original, the other ones that are there. And that's where they took out one of our power posts.
Yeah, I remember that.
So that's been restored. We were around, last year, we had a motor vehicle accident at the intersection of River and Milwaukee Avenue.
Okay.
We had a fellow drive down River Road and not make the turn either direction and drove right into the levee wall, the concrete wall. It was a suicide by accident, by motor vehicle accident, I should say. That wall was damaged in multiple spots in that area. We've been working with the Army Corps, the DNR, everyone trying to get a plan together. We finally got the preliminary approved project. It's going through final checks with the Army Corps right now, and we're expecting mid-summer that project's going to happen. What that means is the northbound lane of Milwaukee Avenue around the curve there at the light will be closed for repairs on the wall. I'd expect it to be about a 45-day project from start to finish. They have to put the Jersey barricades up so they can close the lane of traffic safely, disassemble the wall, put a temporary traffic signal in, build a buffer wall so if it does flood, it doesn't come into the city. There's a lot to it. It's
Yeah.
about a $900,000 project to repair, so.
45 days is actually shorter than that.
That's
not.
what, yeah, that's kind of what I'm figuring it, once the project gets officially approved and it goes out to bid, then we'll have a better time frame by a contractor, but realistically, from the different steps we've talked about, it seems like it could be done.
That's pretty good. I was expecting 90 days.
The nice thing about it is there's not mechanicals and plumbing, it's concrete and steel. And working to make sure the river stays where it needs to be during that time. That's really the big caveat. If we do get a big rain event, there's extra shoring and things to do. But that's coming up. We've been diligently working on it. We were unable to obtain any funding from insurance, from the city insurance or the drivers. We were very fortunate to get funding through a few state representatives and a few programs to help cover this, so it's coming along. So, banners, as I mentioned, we still have a few left to put up. Hopefully today the rain will break and the last center line will get done. I brought the other ones in just as we don't have to make any purchases now, but as the guys were taking them down, as we change them out, we're in the winter ones now. Typically after that we go back to the red and the blue and the green, and then we get the spring, the bubbles that go up. But there's that February, March area, I think we change back to these. So next meeting or so, I'm going to try to get a couple new quotes for, these are the originals, as you can tell, they're getting ready. So,
Well, should we, if it's going to be February and March, our next meeting's not till March. So do we want to, kind of like last time, we talked about,
or we can just put the springs up a little sooner. I had that this. Oh, you know what I'm saying? We go right from trees to bulbs. Sorry.
We do?
Yeah.
okay.
So we have till the end of spring.
Well, that's the ones we think
Bubbles.
are
I
bubbles.
know.
So we have trees, we have bubbles, we have blue and green. And that's the different ones, we talked about different ones for fall.
When
next
you,
year.
and don't we have, or is that it? The red, white, and blue ones?
We have the Statue of Liberty. which
Yeah.
will run usually from
From
4th of July to
yeah.
Memorial Day. And that's a blue banner, and that sits alongside this blue banner.
Okay,
So those are only one side of the pole, so those are a little brighter blue.
Yeah.
And they're kind of next to the faded blue. So
Right.
these blue have typically been up year-round before we purchased the last
right.
couple of new sets, so. So that's it for the banners. We don't have to make a decision, I think, today. We have stuff to do. They just took them down, and one of my guys is here.
You can tell it's faded.
Show them this, so. And then We haven't done recently spring planting, the tulip bulbs or anything like that. I think this last spring, we came out pretty good. We had stuff pop up automatically. We have our maintenance agreement. We have the cleaning of the beds in the spring, everything like that. At our next meeting, we should determine for summer color. So our landscapers can be prepared to get that moving as fast as possible. So I think our summer worked out really well this year. It was nice.
It
to
looked
get
really
color
good,
again
yeah.
After years of very minimal. So that's about it for the beautification zone.
Do we want to do some type of minimal spring? Or not? You're saying we don't do any?
I was comfortable with it this year. We had quite a lot of tulips pop up and things like that, and with just a spring cleanup, it refreshed it.
Okay.
In the past,
I don't recall.
yeah.
It's a short period.
Yeah, it
It's a
is.
short period to spend.
Well, that's kind of like when we talked about the mums.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
They don't miss
It's funny, I don't even, in the last 3 years, I don't even have the spring planting numbers anymore on here.
Well, because I don't think we,
'Cause it
during
was just-
COVID, that we
Yeah,
didn't do
right.
anything, yeah.
21, 22.
Yeah, summer, fall, banners. I kind of dropped the whole spring thing off here. But I can come up with a number, just we're going to meet in February.
Yeah. Okay. All right, thank you.
Well,
So we'll skip over since Dan's not here and go to Jocelyn.
Yeah, so, as you all know, we've had, that white Jeep that's been going around, taking catalytic converters, so we've, kind of gotten them out of the area. Obviously, the same thing, lighting and cameras are the most important thing. And hotels, you guys went through something kind of scary not too long ago, so, everything that the hotels know what's going on. Other than that, there's really no new updates besides, the same as always, lighting is the most important thing.
All right.
Yeah,
That's good. Well, he was there, so we drove here.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
In the parking?
No.
Right in front of us.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they came in, what time was that? It was about 1, what was it?
Yeah, I was about to, midnight to 2 in the
It
morning.
was so weird. I had something going on, I needed to talk to my daughter and called him at 3 in the morning. He goes, oh, you won't believe what did call, what's going on?
Yeah, it was
Like,
it was a.
I said, are you okay?
Yeah, and so, and cameras is important for any front desk at any hotels.
Well, that's what you guys looked at, and then, did you guys get him?
Yes, yes.
Did you have that, and didn't he rob a
A gas
gas
station.
station?
Yep.
And he went to their door, right?
Mhm.
He went to the Hilton door.
Yeah.
Our security
And-
sits
and-
right there though. so
And
that's-
Motel
Well-
6.
Anyway, did he get in there?
Yes,
Oh, you were out there.
but he didn't want, he just got it.
Oh, okay. And he'd stayed at the hotel before.
Yeah, so.
Yes.
Yeah, it was just, it was very odd, but definitely for the hotels to have a system where you guys on your own, I know bars have it, people who are banned, you
That's why I
Scan
called
them.
you.
yeah, their standard
That's why I
license.
texted you.
Yeah.
But you didn't tell me what happened.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah. Yes.
I was in a hurry. I was gonna do that.
Yeah, scanning licenses, having some sort of internal system for your own cells. I know Palatine is working on something for kind of, we'll call them like problem children, regulars that maybe are causing kind of nuisances, for something to be, maybe shared with the different hotels. Obviously if, the Red Roof Inn in Palatine doesn't want, is having issues with someone, I'm sure we don't want them at our
Right.
hotels either.
Well, we
Yeah.
try to,
Have that.
I did-
intention.
she failed to mention
No,
this
but-
one.
I was told that he was caught right
Yes,
away.
he was.
because of
Yes,
the
he
thing.
was.
Or I would have let you know that, but that's what I was.
Yeah,
told.
And we've
And
had
honestly,
that,
it
we've
was-
had like people who like kind of hot, like they get kicked
Yeah,
out from
it is.
somewhere. And so we've tried, all the
And-
hotels.
Now,
we've
we've
And
tried.
that really helps.
And
The
we
Motel
have-
6 does a really good job. They scan people's IDs. If you have a guest, they have to have their ID in as well. They have like a little tablet and like, it's again, it's internal for themselves. like their do not rent list or whatever it is, like do not. you
Oh,
know.
we have one,
Yeah,
but.
so, you know, having that, and maybe sharing that with, amongst yourselves and, you know, the rest of the tourism district would be something, something that we could look into again. I know Palatine is starting to do something like that, so, when I go to your individual hotels, and talk to your staff, that's something that, you know, we can talk about.
Well, we have that group of people that come through
Yeah.
every once in a while.
Yeah,
We
and
haven't
that's,
seen them for a while.
yeah, exactly, and those are, you know, most hotel staff, like, you know, when you have something that's, it's too good to be true, usually it's too good to be true. You know, so, yeah, anything other than that, I will, talk with hotels individually, but, cameras, having outdoor cameras and cameras, on the inside is very important.
No one told me about the Jeep. I
Yeah,
didn't-
it was, well,
I didn't
they
know
never
about
actually,
it.
got into the hotel.
Okay.
Yeah, they were just parked, and then they left. So it was just like, you know, disaster was averted. Yeah,
And so they're still doing that.
yes. Yeah. Yeah, they'll use that Jeep to steal another Jeep, or they'll use that, you know.
Question, do you think is crime up in the area?
Right now, it's not, but sometimes around Christmas time and stuff like that, you know, people are trying to get some money for gifts or whatever it is, and so, yeah. It typically goes up a little bit during this time. Those like catalytic converter thefts and stuff like that. Yeah, what happened at the Crown was just very odd. That guy, you know, it was just very, it was just a weird occurrence.
Yeah,
Yeah, he had been a guest at a few of our hotels, and it, you know, it was a weird oddball, but nothing violent, nothing dangerous, so, yeah.
our staff wasn't hurt or anything.
No,
like
just,
that.
yeah, rattled, a little shocked.
He was, I go, are you okay? We need to get you. He said, I'm okay, I'm okay.
Yeah, yeah, cameras are definitely important, and stuff like that, you know. We were able to pull footage from different hotel in town. They had really good cameras in the stairwells, and that showed the subject actually changing their clothes, because when they were at the Crown Plaza, they had a different set of clothes on. Then when they went to this other hotel, he changed it to a different set of
really?
clothes. Yeah, and so the camera footage really helped lock everything in, and that was the same person, because we saw him leaving with that clothes, coming in with that clothes, and so, yeah, and they had parking lot cameras as well, so they captured the vehicle and everything, so it was all very, very good stuff. So again, the cameras really helped.
You know, we just
kind of
put
seal
in
that.
another, we just put in brand new cameras, 30, we still have about 10 or 12.
Do you have none that face the exterior, correct?
Pardon?
None that face the exterior?
We have them on the entry, on the outside entry, not
The
in
lobby or the vestibule,
Not in the, outside
In
and
the
in
parking lot.
Portage, but not, in a couple other places at the doorways
Okay.
outside, but not out to the parking lot.
Okay.
We don't have those yet.
Okay. That's it.
Great. So that is the last thing, well, not the last thing, but we have our dates for 2024. So March 1st, June 7th, September 6th, and December 6th. Our set for our meetings.
We need to approve those because I published them.
Oh, okay. So Alderman Sir, aye.
Well, I move to approve.
I'll move to approve, sorry.
Second, Ms. Howley. Okay, Schulteis, aye.
Alderman Sir, aye.
Anderson, aye.
Dolwick, aye.
All right, any old business? I think we've talked about it already. Any public comments?
No?
All right. Then I motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.